to A Well-Designed Business. My name is LuAnn Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company WindowWorks from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. Today, I'm so happy and delighted to share with you that I am welcoming a new sponsor to the show, Monogram. And today, in order to kick off this show, you know what we always do. We invite the representatives from the new sponsor company here so that I can pick apart all the goodness that they have to deliver to you as interior designers. So welcoming to the show today are Rob Koller, who is the Senior Brand Manager for Monogram Brands, and Alexandra Skobel, who is the Senior Manager of the Monogram Design Center with me. Hi, Rob. Hi, Alex. How are you?
Hi, LuAnn. Hey, how are you doing?
Hey, LuAnn. How are you? We're excited to be here today.
So, guys, I am excited too. Alex, you and I have for about a year or so been meeting each other and running into each other at different live events. And Rob, I got a chance to meet you recently at KBIS. So I have to say that so far, the energy that comes from every single person that I've met at Monogram is just, there's kind of a special energy with you guys. I mean, you've got Megan and Alyssa and the rest of your team. And you all, you know what I love? When I meet people who are like happy to work for the company they work for, and nobody in your organization seems to be phoning it in. And so that always makes me happy and makes me smile and makes me realize that we're probably going to have a very, very nice relationship, the two of us. So today, we're going to pull apart all the goodness of Monogram and all the opportunities for designers to specify your product so that they understand what their options are. We're going to talk about your designer trade rewards program. But first, we're going to start with the company mission for Monogram. And I would love, Alex, for you to just tell us about the company mission for Monogram and what it is that is important to you guys as a company.
Yeah, absolutely, LuAnn. At Monogram, we believe luxury is elevated in every detail. In the premium materials that awaken your senses through signature innovations that inspire your culinary creativity, and an ownership experience that is second to none. Because at Monogram, we don't just elevate one thing, we elevate everything.
Okay, so this brand Monogram is, of course, under the umbrella of GE. And so this is to the words of your mission statement, elevated. This is where the designer comes for not your garden variety appliances, right? For that next level, that top level, actually, of appliances for, I'm assuming, discerning clients, people who really take pride and value in the kitchen that they create, yes?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So from the Monogram suite of appliances, we have refrigerators, dishwashers, wall ovens, ranges. Okay. And I learned something from you guys a few moments ago off air that you in 1987 were the first ones to come out with, tell us.
Yeah, with a full package of built-in products. So that's everything from your built-in dishwasher, your built-in refrigeration, your built-in wall oven. We really wanted to make sure that our clients could have a full package of Monogram and all their handles matching. That was important to us back then, and it still is today.
It's so funny because we almost kind of take it for granted at some level now that you can have that elevated look with your appliances. But of course, it's not available with every line of appliances. And it's kind of interesting and pretty cool that you guys were the ones that first came out with it as a full package so that no one appliance in the kitchen had to look like, what is that Sesame Street game? Which one doesn't belong, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Exciting. exciting. Okay. So, Rob, you talk to us a little bit. You are the brand manager for the Monogram brand. Tell us a little bit about, I understand from your bio that you come from the food and beverage industry. So tell us a little bit about your perspective personally, like why you could have gone to almost any company, I imagine, coming from food and beverage. And what is it about Monogram that you think is different and that you want interior designers to know about the Monogram difference?
Yeah, that's a great question. Coming from the food and beverage industry, I worked on a lot of different brands, from all the way from low end to the luxury brands within food and beverage. And the luxury brands just speak to me a little bit more. They have so much more brand equity that you can build, and so that's what really excited me about Monogram. And then just the tradition that Monogram had, the heritage of being the first to have the full suite of built-in appliances, and then under the GE label, which is just known as a well-known brand. So at Monogram, we focus on three main things, and so this is what's exciting to me as well. So they're really focused on materials, and then enduring experience you get, and the touch and feel that you get from the appliances that you're purchasing, and then performance. Obviously, we have signature innovation that runs through our DNA from GE, and just keeps showing up in all of our Monogram appliances. And then the last pillar we focus on is ownership. So we're working on getting personalized privileges, kind of white glove service for your Monogram appliances that we'll be coming out with in the future. Okay.
So tell me a little bit about, when you talk about the materials, so we've got materials, the luxury,
the performance,
and then this ownership. So when we talk about materials, what happens? What makes an appliance that's considered a luxury appliance different than an entry-level appliance that my mom might go buy at a box store? What is the difference?
That's it's really in the small details. So when we talk about I want to elevate everything, we look at everything within the appliance from the smallest detail to the biggest item. So an example is we have a range top that the knobs use a special glass that is only used in Rolex watches. It's scratch resistant. The only thing that's stronger than it is a diamond. So unless you had a diamond pickaxe, you wouldn't be able to scratch these knobs. So it's little details like that that really give the owner of these brands, of this brand, that special touch and the knowledge that they have the top end item for their kitchens.
So, and I can see how that would appeal to the luxury clientele, right? It's like we don't want what everybody else has. We
That's
want
exactly
it to be
right.
better.
Yep.
But it has to be better, right?
Yeah, we call that social currency. So it's something that they can then talk about with their friends, and gives them kind of not really a one-upmanship, but it just gives them something to talk about and show, how they design their kitchen and what they think about when they're talking about appliances.
Mm-hmm. And of course, that particular detail that you mentioned, the knobs, it's an aesthetic value because it looks more beautiful. There's a function there. It's not going to get all scratchy and yicky after a few years. But are there also differences in the built-in quality of the way your appliances run that are elevated as well?
Yeah. So, in some of the items that we have, so on a cooktop, that's the top part of your range, with the gas or electric, there's usually seams, and they take one part and put it on the other. So for Monogram, we have seamless cooktops so that you're not going to get anything within there. So it's not going to get, break down as fast because, you get gook and junk in there that then eats away at your range top over time. And so these are just items that are made to last a long time. So it's a higher end appliance, but it's one that lasts for a long time, so you get your money's worth.
Okay. All right. And, we need these technical terms when we go to sell these to our clients. Like, you don't get any gook in there, right?
Yep, exactly. You came to the right person for technical terms.
I was gonna say, the flush. It's a flush install, so that's what allows those gook to not be in there.
Okay, that's awesome. So tell me, when you are working with interior designers. So you have, first of all, the chain of distribution, right? So I understand that an interior designer does not set up a trade account with Monogram to then place an order for appliances. And a designer will access your line of appliances through a dealer network that has been designated by you, probably, and vetted and quality and all of that. Am I on the right track, you guys?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So obviously I would make the next assumption that if I wanted to know who was the approved dealer in my area, I probably would get that information from your website.
Yeah, absolutely. Just go to monogram.com and you can type in find showroom and type in your zip code and it'll auto-populate all of the reseller dealers in your area.
Okay. So the thing is then, if I'm an interior designer, we've just mentioned two features that are going to be your sell points when you are a designer and you're suggesting the Monogram appliances to your client. But what other things do you guys do in order to educate the interior designers on the features and benefits of your appliances? Do we have to rely on your dealer network for that information, you guys, or do you provide that information somehow?
Yeah, that's a great question, LuAnn. So we have a couple of programs set up specifically for the designer community to help them to be educated on our product. And so one of them is our designer training in Chicago. So we host 25 sessions a year, bringing in around 300 designers to Chicago, and they spend 2.5 days with us learning all about Monogram. They get CEU credits for it. They do hands-on cooking with the product, so they really can understand how the product is used. And then when they go out there and are talking to their clients and understanding their client's lifestyle, they can see if Monogram is the right fit for their client. So we do the designer training in Chicago, which is a great way for them to not only learn about our product, but more importantly, it's to meet our team here in Chicago. Building that relationship, we feel like goes a long way. And so when they get back out to their location, they can reach out to us and ask us questions because they feel comfortable because they were spending the last 2 days with us.
That is really valuable. I mean, we talk about it on the show all the time. One of the benefits and the reasons why the more experienced interior designers recommend to other colleagues that are just new in the business to visit High Point and Las Vegas market and the different markets is, if for no other reason, to establish the personal relationship with your trade rep for the different vendors and brands that are at the different markets. And so that I've had that experience at Window Works. So for a designer to really get to know your team, now, it's exactly as you said, the barrier is down. Now I don't feel funny calling with a question or request or a clarification because I feel like I know you, right?
Yeah. And the other thing I'll add to that too is when we bring in these designers, we're bringing in 12 of them at a time, and they're meeting designers from different parts of the country, which is another great way for them to build their network and really understand what's happening on, maybe in the East Coast versus the West Coast versus in the Central. So it's a really great best practices sharing as well. So we really enjoy doing those for the designers.
I love that. And that there are, hundreds of designers right now going, how do I get in on that? So how do they is obviously they have to probably go and sign up for their trade account. And what we're going to do now is I just want to let everybody know that as a sponsor of the podcast, of course, just like you want to know where your marketing budget is going and the ROI on it, Monogram does too. So the URL that we would love for you to use is monogram.com/LuAnn, LuAnn. Okay, so this is how we would love for you to go so that these lovely people know that their marketing dollars are working. But is that what so we go and we set up our account probably, but beyond that, and it may be, Alex and Rob, that you guys say, look, it's not necessarily, the first minute you have an account that we invite the designers that have been working with us for a while? Or how is it? Is it a lottery? How do you get invited to do this?
Yeah, so the first step is to definitely set up your Monogram Trade Partner rewards program, which is at monogramtradepartner.com. And so once that's set up, we'll go ahead and reach out to you directly to get that conversation started. So that's the first step for it. And then we follow up with an email after that.
Okay. So it's basically set up your account, get working, and you can ask to be included the next time it happens, it sounds like?
Yeah, so there's a little bit of a process behind it, but we'll get connected with you as soon as you're registered for the program, and then we'll get either the local Monogram sales manager to set up a meeting with you and/or your local designer engagement leader.
Okay. So there's a whole network and a whole process, because if I'm listening and I have never specified Monogram before, that is going to be part of the criteria for me. Not necessarily that I feel like I've got to go to Chicago and be part of this flagship type of event that you have there, but I do need to see, feel, touch the product. And so I can also do that at my local area dealer too.
Yeah, this past year, LuAnn, we have put in place a designer who is focused on our displays across the country. And so it's really her job and her team's job to go out there and to update our displays, especially in the major markets, but also the secondary markets as well, so that that designer and her client or his client can go to that local reseller or dealer, touch, feel, even see the product live.
Okay. And that's a great question that occurs to me. I've been to a few appliance showrooms in my day, and some are leftover relics from a gabillion years ago, and some feel like a luxury experience. So if I'm going to try and sell a luxury suite of appliances, is there any expectation that the dealers do have that whole presentation part of it locked down? I hear you're going on updating the displays and stuff, but is that expected from your standpoint to the dealer's standpoint, that look, we're selling luxury, so when they come in, they bring their client here, it has to feel like that as well?
Yeah, we really try and focus on that with our resellers. So it's kind of we have really put the focus, as you've mentioned, on updating our displays with our new looks on the statement and minimalist look that we have out starting this year. We're going to be done with over 100 displays by the end of the second quarter. So we're really excited about that. And it's really important for us, just like we build relationship with designers, is to build that relationship with these resellers. So we make sure that we've try and talk to them about updating their displays and really keep the ones that do it and the ones that we have good relationships with at the top of mind. And then we can then focus on pushing those resellers to the designers that we know, and really trying to build those relationships all around, and kind of, hooking up your friends, so to speak, and merging everybody together so that they're in a good place. And we're all, since we've built relationships with them, all friendly with each other and get things done.
That's good. Because again, I put myself in the position of the designer trying to sell the product, right? If I have a client that is predisposed, that has possibly had a Monogram appliance before or a suite of appliances before, and knows luxury, great. But if I'm the designer that's like, heck yes, let me see if I can start swimming in this lane and start specifying this product and elevate my clients' kitchens through the process, if I'm going to talk to them about luxury, I can't feel like I'm walking into a box store to describe it either, though, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah. And back to the earlier point was, we really try and hook the designer up with their our local sales rep, because that's the key relationship there. That's a good base for us to have before they then can, fly out to Chicago and join us for 2.5 days. So it's really important for us to build that key relationship on the ground where they're at, so that if they have any questions there or they need help selling the Monogram appliances, we have somebody right there for them.
I like that idea too. I have to say, I think that sounds really logical and a reasonable expectation, that there is some sort of relationship that has been expressed, and it's clear that it's a two-way street. Like, get that going first on a local level, and then you can look to see and be part of the bigger experience. Now, I've been to the Monogram showroom in Chicago just this past year when I was there for the Powerhouse Smarts Luxury Conference, and it's an amazing place. Is that just like any showroom in a major design center where it is open to the trade? So it's one thing to be part of the 2-day experience, but I can come in to your flagship showroom and just see, touch, feel. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's open to the public Monday through Saturday. And even when we have those designer trainings going on or some of the other trainings taking place, anyone can walk in during those hours.
Okay, so now I was expecting that it was open to the trade only. So it's open to the public. And so I guess that's like eye candy for the public. So the luxury client in Chicago walks by, you're on the ground floor, they see it, they're like, I want some of that. But if they start to say, and I want to buy, then you're going to push them out to the designer or the dealer network. Is that the case?
Yeah, yep. We'll find out where they're located and we'll get them, connected with, the local Monogram sales manager if it's not right here in Chicago. Absolutely.
Okay. So that's like a lead magnet for everybody there. It's you're not selling from that showroom, correct?
Correct. Yep. That's correct.
Love it. One of the things I noticed that, you do often, of course, you have it as part of your 2-day experience, but you often will have I think you have a chef in standing. You have your own Monogram chef. Is that correct?
Yeah, Chef John. He's phenomenal. He's our full-time chef there at the Design Center.
Right. So he's doing demonstrations and you're having get-togethers. Now, if I'm a designer in the Chicago area, do I have to just say, look at a calendar of events that I might bring my potential client to an event that you might be having with Chef John, or can I make an appointment to do it? How does that work, Alex?
Yeah, so there's a couple ways that you can do it. You can absolutely go on our website and go under design centers and click on Chicago, and a whole event calendar will auto-populate, and then you can select the day and date that works best for you. We have call it 10 or 15 demos each month. So you can go ahead and select one of those and just register right online. Of course, if one of those days or dates don't work for you, you can reach out to us directly. Our emails are listed on the website as well, and register that way. And or the designer connects with us as well, and then we set her up.
And
or him.
Do you have that set up around the country as well? In other words, do some of these events take place at your dealer networks, or are there other design centers set up for designers that are not local to Chicago?
So Chicago is our only standalone Monogram Design Center. The rest of our Monogram experience centers are inside of one of our resellers or dealers. And so, yes, they can absolutely, the designer can bring their client in there, and they can, again, touch, feel. Some of the product is live. It just depends on what showroom you're looking at. But yeah, if the product's live, we can absolutely bring in a chef or have someone cook something in that showroom for the client or designer.
Very, very cool. Okay. So now, when a designer goes to familiarize themselves with your product line, is it the sort of thing where I'm thinking about the actual process now. So maybe the range or the cooktop or whatever it's called is literally, my client loves blah, blah, blah and gets the value of that, but is maybe for whatever reason, is thinking, I don't know, maybe it's a price point thing that I'm not going to do every appliance in the kitchen. Does that ever happen? Or is it pretty much at the luxury level, if a designer is going to present maybe the item that is of most importance to their client, that they're automatically going to assume or try to assume that the client is going to go with the full package of the appliances for the kitchen? How does that work?
Yeah, most of the time they're going to get a full suite, is what we call it, a full suite of products, because you want to have that same look running throughout your kitchen. There are, a handful of times that it happens that they're just looking for one appliance and they're going to upgrade. But for the most part, we're looking to sell these as a package because the consumer is usually either redoing the whole kitchen or just resetting all their new appliances.
Okay.
And the only thing I'll add to that is it's a benefit for the consumer or the owner to buy a full package because we do have a rebate. So that rebate allows them to get 1 or 2 items free, and which would entice them to want to explore a full package of Monogram.
Okay, so what does that mean, Alex? So if I'm a designer and I'm saying, okay, we're doing a kitchen reno here, you need dishwasher, wall oven, range, refrigerator, and if you buy 3, you get 1 free. What are we talking about?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. One is that if the designer is registered for our rewards program, they actually get to extend preferred builder pricing to their client, which is a great discount. So if they have a client that is not buying a full package and they just want to get a refrigerator, they get to extend that preferred builder pricing to that client. If the designer is not registered for our rewards program, then their client would just be using our rebate. And our rebate is where it starts with cooking. So they have to buy either a range or a cooktop and a wall oven. Once they buy one of those 2, they get something for free. That could be their dishwasher, that could be their under-counter beverage center, that could be their hood insert. Then the second tier of the rebate is they buy a built-in refrigerator. Once they buy that built-in refrigerator, they get a second item for free. And then the last tier of the rebate is our hearth oven, which is one of those signature pieces that we have. If they buy that, they get a third item for free.
Wow. And are we saying that this is like a ladder effect? So I'm going to start with my range and wall oven and I get something free. And this is the same customer, the same kitchen, the same everything. And I pick a dishwasher. Then I buy a refrigerator and I'm going to get an undermount beverage thing for free.
Yes.
And then I buy, okay, so we could really pack it all up in here. Okay. Mm-hmm. And now you guys said something about preferred builder program. And the thing about this, what I just heard in there, when I, as an interior designer, specify the Monogram product, am I not selling it to my consumer? Am I just introducing and making the introduction? Because you said the client gets the pricing at the preferred builder program, or was that just a slip and you meant the designer gets it at the preferred builder program?
No, the client does get it. So what happens, LuAnn, is when they're registered for our reward, the designer is registered for our rewards program, that designer gets what's called our Monogram designer ID number. That designer is shopping with their client at, the local dealer or reseller. And when they are ready to go, when the client's ready to go ahead and purchase, the designer would provide her Monogram designer ID number. That goes right on the invoice and allows the client to get that preferred builder pricing program.
So design. This is not like when we are working with Kravitz. So if I'm an interior designer and I'm going to sell you a drapery, I buy the fabric from Kravitz, I make the drapery, and then I sell the client one price for a completed drapery, labor, and fabric. You're saying that the designer is ushering the client through the process, but ultimately the contract and the money is going to go between the client and this dealer.
That's correct. But if the designer does prefer to buy the product, that absolutely can happen too.
Oh, so it can happen either way.
It can, yep.
Okay. Because I'm just thinking if I'm a kitchen designer, maybe I'm mistaken, but I just made the assumption that if I'm a kitchen designer, most of the time I'm probably purchasing the cabinetry, purchasing the flooring, purchasing the countertop, and I would have thought I'm purchasing the appliances as well.
Yeah, so we hear a lot of mixed reviews on whether the designer actually purchased the appliances for the client.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's because, it's a $20,000 to $40,000 package. I'm not really sure, but it tends to more sway towards the client actually purchases their appliances.
Okay.
And what we find most of the time is it's, in your example, you were adding some extra value to it, right? You had added value in to make the draperies, but with appliances, you're getting it and then you're installing it and then it's there. So the designer isn't really adding any extra value to it. So it's sometimes it depends on the designer, but it's easier for them sometimes when the consumer just purchases it straight from the dealer.
Okay. And I can also understand from the standpoint of the follow-up with repairs and warranty and everything, 7, 8, 10 years later, it's probably valuable for the client to have ownership of all of the paperwork and all of that stuff.
That's correct.
And I guess they could turn that over anyway, but still, okay. But what you're saying is you are honoring the designer relationship, the designer who introduced the client to the Monogram product. And so therefore, when the purchase is made, there's no, the client isn't looking and saying, oh, you're getting a kickback or anything crazy like that. We're just saying, here's my designer ID number through the Monogram Trade Designer Program. And Monogram knows that I introduced you to this, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's just an added benefit that we have that's part of the trade program for our designers.
Mm-hmm. And then what is my incentive as a designer? I'm assuming if you're tracking how much business I'm bringing to you as a designer, that you're building in incentives for me as well?
Yes. Yep. So each piece of Monogram that is, specified into the designer's beautiful design work, we give a reward for.
And so what are these bonus points that add up, and I do what with them? Do I get, what do I do with them?
Yeah, so once you register for the program, you get a MasterCard that basically once you submit that invoice, the dollar amount is added right to that MasterCard, and that MasterCard could be used anywhere. Yeah.
Well, isn't that exciting?
Yeah. It's a nice. It's just another piece of that for us to build that relationship with the designer. It's you sign up for our trade program. We introduce you to our local team member. We send you to Chicago to learn more about our product and meet the team there. And then we, offer this, rewards program. And then we even offer a home ownership program for our designers. So if they want to put Monogram into their own personal home, we would absolutely love that. And so we give them a significant discount off of the product if they're putting it in their own personal home.
That's excellent. That's probably one of the smartest things I heard you say, because you know what I mean? That's how you get somebody as a true believer. They can really be the advocate for the brand if they use it and they know it and they love it and they get all the features and the benefits every day and they're experiencing them. So that's awesome. Yeah, that's how I started selling more motorized window treatments, because my husband insisted that our whole house have motorized window treatments, and I fought him tooth and nail. And then all of a sudden I was like, I know how to do all these things. Let's sell more.
Yeah. I mean, one of the main focuses for us on the marketing side is really word of mouth, and there's nothing better than word of mouth than if the person has the appliance and can talk about it. So again, going back to that social currency, they then extend that to their friends and family and even clients if they're a designer. So we really look for that on top of the other marketing events and things that we do.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So now to that when you just said that, Rob, it reminded me, I could be a designer who has the whole suite of appliances in my kitchen, but maybe my mom just needs a new dishwasher. So there is one-off purchases. We don't have to have everything. And if she doesn't care if it doesn't match the others. Okay, good. All right. Now, again, along those lines, so when we think about if we become a true believer in the Monogram brand and appliances in our own circle of friends and clients, there are people that come to the design process at different price points. Does the Monogram brand suite of appliances have price points, or is it all like Maserati all the way, and anything else you've got to go into some of the other brands that GE has? How does that work?
Yeah, so we're considered the luxury brand for the GE appliances umbrella, and then we have different levels with different brands, all the way down to your basic appliances. So we have a couple of different price points on some of the items that we sell, but for the most part, we're on the luxury end of the spectrum.
Right. So even in the luxury lane that Monogram is in, it's not like, okay, in this luxury lane, it's all Monogram, it's all the Monogram line, but we've got a price point of, I have no idea what appliances cost, $1,000 for a dishwasher and $2,000. Right. Or is it all like, no, they're all in the one price point?
They're usually all in the one price point. We have, like I said, a couple different levels, but that's just with some different feature sets and things. If we know some people don't want this extra griddle on their pro range, it takes a little bit off, but for the most part, we're all kind of in one price point.
Okay, makes sense. Totally makes sense. So one of the things that I'm thinking about is there you guys go around the country, you meet the interior designers, you're with them at these events that you have for 2 days. You have dozens and dozens of conversations across the year with interior designers. If I said to you, can you think of some of the obstacles or challenges that designers say to you in selling the product? And I'm going to give you a second to think about it and give you what I mean. So I sell custom window treatments, right? But I don't sell the type of custom window treatments that you can buy at a box store. And it's hard for me to even consider that a custom window treatment, but I guess as soon as they cut it to the size you want, they consider it custom. Okay. But the quality, nothing is the same. And so I will sometimes have a designer that says to me, well, what is the difference between a drapery panel that I can get from you, LuAnn, or a drapery panel that I can order from, the store who remains nameless? We don't say it on the show. The designers get all mad. You know what I'm saying? So, but the thing is, like, I have my answer to that. I know what my answer is. But I also, if somebody said to me, what are the 3 or 4 things that you hear from your clients and your designers when you're trying to explain to them the value in working with window works for the drapes or the awnings? So do you have things like that you're like, yes, this is a typical thing and here's the answer to it?
I will say that one of the great things about working with Monogram, and as we mentioned, updating all of the displays, is our tagline is the mark of luxury you can see and feel, and we really stick by that tooth and nail. So when you walk by a Monogram appliance, you can see the difference. You can feel it in the weight of the items that we use, and and then just the beauty of each of the appliances. So we don't run into that much if they're in the reseller store or the designer is showing them the appliances. They kind of know what they're looking for. But I'll leave it to Alex because she talks with the designers a lot to see if there's anything that she hears from them that makes it hard.
Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think once in a while we'll get the designer that will ask if we have colors, right? And so there's a number of appliance manufacturers that create these different colors. And in the Monogram line, we are stainless steel and of course custom panels. So I think that's one of the things that we get asked a lot. And I think there's a couple of manufacturers that do it well. But what I will say is our answer to that is stay tuned because there might be some things they're working on.
And I hope you understand my intent. My intent isn't to catch you at something that you don't do well. My intent is to be able to, I don't know what I don't know, not having ever sold appliances, right? So my intent is to try and be a voice to the designer that has experience selling appliances, and maybe you have in your head the types of things that they encounter that the answer to is really what I was going for. So that's good.
Well, one of the biggest things that we see is, and I think that runs throughout the appliance industry, is just making sure that it fits correctly. So it's how big is your cutout? What space do you have? So you might want a certain size appliance, but it's not going to fit within the confines of your kitchen. So working around that and working with the actual installer is something that we take pride in as well at Monogram, to make sure that, you wanted a flush finish, we're going to get you the kit that gives you the flush finish. You wanted it to fit this certain inset, then we're going to make sure that we get you the right product that fits that inset.
Okay. And I would think that when you talk about the installation process being well handled, that is happening through that dealer network, that person that we actually bought it from. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So that usually they'll have a installer that goes in there, or the designer is working with an installer for the most part. Okay.
Sounds good.
And the other thing, LuAnn, that I'll add too is, being at the design center and talking with designers quite often, we get asked about comparing ourselves to the competition. And one thing I'll say about our brand that's unique and different compared to, our competitors is that we really, if the client is really interested in using the product, we really try to create some features and benefits that really add value to the client and add value back to their life and add time back to their life, so that the appliances actually do some of the work for them versus them having to work for their appliances, if that makes sense.
And what do you mean by that? Like an example?
Yeah. So right away I think of our range. And so we have, grates and burner caps, of course, on top. Well, on the inside of our ovens, we have coated racks. So by having coated racks, what that allows us to do is keep the rack in the oven when we're doing our self-clean mode. So not only do the racks have to take them out during self-clean, we also now can take that grate and that burner cap that is on top of the range and has a lot of gook on it and has a lot of grease and grime on it, and you can go ahead and stick that onto the oven racks and push the oven door closed, and now you can self-clean that grate and that burner cap while you self-clean the inside of your oven. So again, just really thinking through our engineering team on the details behind every single piece of the product.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because it is a bizarre thing that you've always had to take the racks out. I just did my ovens a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, why? I got to scrub this part now? Like, what does that part mean? Right? So that's awesome. Yeah. That's just a logical thing, right?
Yeah. And one of the things we focus on is really understanding the consumer that we know fits the Monogram brand, so that we know what they're looking for and what they're not looking for. So we're not putting in features that are not interesting to them, but these are features that make sense for this consumer. So because we know that it's a certain segment of the consumers that are out there, we're not trying to sell to everybody. So we really try and specialize that way.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And that sounds like probably to me that you probably have, and with all of the work that you do to develop the relationships with the interior design community and the trade partners within that, the dealer network, it sounds like to me that you're probably constantly gathering information and data and saying, this is what they keep asking for. Let's see if we can do it, right?
Yeah, that's correct. We're always gathering more and more info on these consumers.
We even have our headquarters team come to Chicago and sit in with some of the designers and stuff, so they can really learn or show prototypes or get feedback from them too. So it's really great.
Love it, love it. Now I noticed that you have different lines. It's not just like this is the line. You have like a minimalist line coming out and a statement line coming out. The collection. So is it they just different styling for different decor? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's definitely different styling. So the minimalist line is really on this kind of minimalist look that people are kind of trending towards, whereas our statement line is the more transitional looks, and it's something that is still in fashion with a lot of our consumers. So those two are we break it down into 5 different areas, but those are the 2 that we focused on with Monogram because we see that that's where those consumers are heading.
Okay, and if I were to take that just a step further on a practical note, it sounds like, do I translate that more as a modern contemporary line versus a traditional looking line? Like if I've got
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. That's exactly
just fancier
right.
words.
Yep.
But that's important, right? Because if I'm a designer that maybe has the Monogram appliances and I really value them and I really think they're awesome, but I might be designing either or, traditional or modern, and there needs to be something that answers. It can't just be, well, I know your whole home and your kitchen is traditional, but this appliance is so good we have to ignore that from a decor standpoint. It doesn't fit, right?
That's exactly right. And we used to have traditional. We've kind of morphed into more of the transitional and the minimal look because we know that those are important to the consumers nowadays because things shift and change as you go through time.
Right. And then, look, we are recording this at the, right in the center of the way the world has changed with sheltering in place, staying in place and everything else like that. Before this, during this, after this, are there ways for designers that are in remote areas? Maybe, I've talked to designers that are in the middle of Montana and Iowa, and there's probably not a very close, local dealer that is maybe set up at that level to have live appliances. Are you guys doing anything with helping designers understand the value and the styling and the features and the benefits of your product by virtual? Is there anything like that happening?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we are in the process of creating a virtual webinar series called Monogram Talks. And so that will launch the first week of May. And so we're doing everything from product trainings to having a guest industry speaker on it to doing culinary conversations with Chef John. So yes, we're very much embracing the virtual training, and there will be also an email going out in the next week that will highlight that we have product specialists and we have on-call chef to answer your questions when it comes to the appliances.
So that's amazing. Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, I was going to say, and then on top of that, we have over 1,100 resellers. So while you might be in Montana, you're not going to be driving a state away to try and, find your local display. So we do have a good amount, even though we're not in the big box store, so to speak.
Okay. So that's it. I had no idea that there was that many available. And that brings me to another question I hadn't thought of. Is the Monogram product available in Canada and, other countries, or is it strictly a U.S. product at this point?
It actually is available in Canada, but it's just U.S. and Canada at this point.
Okay, because we are reaching 120 countries, you guys.
Yes.
So, okay, so that's good to know, too. So anybody in Canada and the U.S. can access this. And, of course, it sounds like there just might be a place near you that you can see, touch, and feel. But I like this idea of the virtual trainings because that's just where you beef up your own personal product knowledge as an interior designer. Even to me, like, you guys know me, I'm the researcher. If I'm going to have a conversation or do something with somebody, I want to know as much as I can know before I come to that situation. And so if I really want to introduce appliance sales to my interior design ladder of services, having the benefit of all these virtual trainings in an easy way, and then even making the next step of going into the local dealer and meeting my rep and meeting that team there, I feel like I know a little bit more and I feel a little bit better in that conversation.
And just to add one more thing to that, LuAnn, we also have a YouTube channel that has quick videos on feature benefits of some of our product. It also has recipes. So the chefs have been creating a ton of quick, easy recipes over the last few weeks that have been posted there. And it's just a great resource to, find quick videos on our product.
Oh, that's also really, really handy. That's terrific. Okay. So I'm wondering, is there any aspect of working with Monogram from an interior design's perspective that we might have left off the table, Rob or Alex?
I think the only thing add is that we didn't talk about at all, which I think is becoming more and more popular, is technology and it incorporated into the appliances. And so we have, all of our new platforms that we've been launching since 2016 have technology incorporated into it. And so that's everything from being able to add recipes, to update software, to even taking it a step further when it comes to having to service your appliance. So those types are what we're thinking about when it comes to technology. Of course, we want the feature benefits, the Alexa turn on my wall oven and all of that great stuff, but we also want to make sure that there's value add to it as well.
So when you talk about recipes and stuff, or what you're saying that my oven can keep a log of the recipes I like what are we talking about with that?
Yeah, so one of our products, our 5-in-1 speed oven with Advantium technology, that has 175 pre-programmed precision cooking items. And then we've partnered with a couple of different recipe apps that are linked right to the platform. So it actually, once you Wi-Fi connect your 5-in-1 oven, sync it right to your phone, they talk obviously, and then it shares all the recipes. So if I wanted to do spinach and artichoke dip, I could look on my app, I see it, it tells me how to make it, it tells me the ingredients I need, it tells me the chef tips I need, and then I just sync it right to my 5-in-1 and push start.
Oh my goodness.
And the great thing about living in this digital world is that, if you have an update, you don't have to go out and buy a whole brand new oven to get that new update. It just downloads straight to your oven from it once you've connected with us through Wi-Fi. So there's, updates and things that we can do with these appliances nowadays that just make it so much easier and really allow you to keep that appliance for 10 to 15 years.
Wow. Okay. So what you're saying is if I'm, moving along and I'm using my appliances and I've had them for 6 or 7 years and all of a sudden I've got a little glitch, it's not, happy, I can call my dealer or repair person wherever I use it, and it might be something that they do virtually, that they say, okay, let's log in. Oh, you don't have an update. Let's just do that. And boom, and next minute my oven is back to happy.
That is correct. That could be part of the problem. Yes.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, we have what's called our Smart HQ app where all of our brands are, that's where all of our brands are.
Unbelievable. That is awesome. That is awesome. And then I was saving it and to because I felt like it was outside of so much what happens with the designers and their relationship with you, but I do think it's important that they understand the things for their client. But you were, in the very beginning, Rob, you mentioned the ownership type thing, and I felt like that had to do with the consumer, so I kind of put it on hold. But go back to that. That was one of your pillars, was the ownership something or other.
Yep. So it's something that we've been working on for a while. We haven't fully come out with it, but we're working on having a personalized experience with your Monogram, the brand itself. So you can have a one-on-one consultation. You can talk to the chefs about what kind of recipes they're working on. And so it's not a platform that we've fully expanded to its full capacity at this point, but it's things that we're working on specifically within this, the working from home and the COVID-19 shutdown that we're really beefing up at this point to come out with in the future.
And that is geared as a benefit to the homeowner, correct? For their
that is correct.
User experience.
That is correct. That is correct. But it also at the end of the day would be a benefit to the interior designer because of the satisfaction that the consumer would get from the appliances that maybe they specified to this consumer.
Right. Well, I can see how so many of these things. Well, first of all, the consumer that's interested in the luxury brand of appliances is more likely to be a consumer that cooks, right? That cares about this stuff, right? I mean, I'm sure there's 100 of them, million of them that just want their kitchen to look amazing. And of course, it has to come with it, whether they ever cook or not. But I also think that it makes a lot of sense that you are building in features and benefits that people who appreciate, not cooking, but the art of cooking, right?
That is correct.
The enjoyment
of it. Exactly right. Yeah,
Yes.
This consumer is one that uses their appliances a lot. Specifically, they're exploring a lot, especially newer recipes, trying new things. They like to kind of push the boundaries, almost like a professional chef would. They're the ones that are always hosting, family gatherings or big friendly dinners because they have the kitchen to do it.
Right. I love it. I think that's awesome. So, if you're an interior designer and you've got that kind of a client that is important to them, that the kitchen is where their heart beats, then this is the type of product and line to really speak to them about and let them elevate, like to use your mission and vision word, that to elevate their experience in their own kitchen, in their own home. That's awesome. I love it. Yep. So exciting. So I am really thrilled about this new partnership between yourself and all of us over here in podcast land, as I like to call it. And we'll be looking forward to learning more about you guys over the coming months. Of course, I will be sharing information every single week, little tips and things that you may or may not know about Monogram. And I encourage all of you to go to monogram.com/LuAnn. Look for how to sign up for your trade account, look for who your local dealer is, get, introduced to them and meet who your local rep is, your regional rep, and, see what Monogram can do and how you can incorporate it into your projects. Because we know that as soon as we start to introduce luxury items into our projects, it does benefit our profitability. So, this is another terrific way for you to up-level your business. So thank you, Rob, and thank you, Alex, so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us. It's been great.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining me again today. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks, your resource for custom window treatments and awnings. To learn how we can help you on your next interior design project, go to www.windowworks-nj.com. And if you're interested in working with me on your business, either through masterminds or one-on-one coaching, or you want to know how to get my book, The Making of a Well-Designed Business, or you just want to know what's going on in the podcast land and where I'm going to be, all of that is found at LuAnn'sNigara.com. Thank you so much. Have an excellent day.